been absolutely wonderful and a huge supporter for NACDA. And I'd like to see before we start, Tia, are you going to be at the Kona conference in a couple of weeks?
Well, that's a great question. Of course we are. And in fact, we are sponsoring one of the lunches. So I'm hoping to see all of you guys there.
Excellent, excellent. Well, if you are there, everybody, at the NACDA conference, it's going to be November 8th through 12th on Kona, and it is going to be one of the hugest conferences we've had. Everybody wants to go to Kona, and including all the suppliers as well as the agents. There are several post-FAMs as well as a pre-FAM, so hopefully I will see people on the line at the conference. So, Tia, I am going to turn the reins over to you. I just want to remind everybody that this is being recorded and that this will be up on the NACDA website shortly. And if you have any questions for her during the webinar, please post them in the question box, and I will read them at the end during our Q&A session. Everybody is on mute, and that is to prevent any background sounds. I will also put myself on mute so there'll be no sound on my end, and we can give Tia our full attention. With that said, turning off my mic, turning the reins over to you, and I'm looking forward to what you have to show us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lorene, and welcome everyone to our part 2 of our AWE training. So hopefully you have seen our one either live or have done it online. So we're going to kind of continue on to that with our training number 2, which is going to cover only 2 modules, so it shouldn't take a full hour, so we can get you guys back to work. But we're going to kind of talk about Alaska year-round and not just focus on our peak summer season. So you can see all the different things there are to see and do year-round in Alaska. So again, real quick, my name is Tia Fraley. I've worked at Anchorage for about 2.5 years now, but have always worked in the tourism industry, and I've lived in Anchorage all my life. So I've had the pleasure of working for Holland America Cruise Line and Alyeska Resort here in Alaska. So let's get started. It is only about 10 a.m. here in Alaska, so depending on where you're at, it's either good morning or good afternoon. And yes, as Lorene said, come join us at the NACDA conference and come to our luncheon that we're going to be sponsoring. We'll have some great giveaways there. And as Lorene said, Hawaii is a great place to go, especially in November. Us Alaskans love to take our direct flight over there. So hope to see you guys there. Let's see if my clicker works. Next slide. Maybe. Stand by.
Modern technology. I see your mouse moving.
Hey, there we go. Thought I had it all lined up because I had to click at the right spot. Okay, so talking about Alaska and South Central Alaska year-round is what we're going to focus on. So a lot of people at conferences I get asked, when is the best time of year to come visit? Well, it really depends on what your clients are interested in seeing. So what we're going to do is highlight each season and talk about what they can get the best experience for depending on when they come to South Central Alaska. The first focus is we're going to go ahead and start with our peak season, which is the summer season, which is June, July, and August. So we're going to start there and focus on our high season, and then we'll kind of work around the circle and get ourselves back to May on all the things there are to see and do. So are we cold during this time frame? You can see our average is about 65 degrees, but this last July we had the warmest month on record. So we were hitting the 80s, and we're a dry heat up here. So when we're in the 80s, we have our fans going because most of us don't have AC up here. So it really can be nice, but we can dip down to the 60s. So as we do, and we tell you to tell your clients, is to dress in layers. But also, look at all that daylight we get. During June, July, and August, we're going to be getting anywhere from 17.5 to 22 hours of daylight. And that's often called daylight is playlight. So come and play during these months. As you can see here, this is our log cabin visitor center. But what's so special about this is showing the bloom of Anchorage. We're known as the city of flowers in the summertime. And we hang baskets. Our municipalities plants over 180,000 flowers in the downtown area, so it's really a beautiful place to walk around. And again, here's our log cabin visitor center that Visit Anchorage operates. It's a great place to get information on where to eat, where's the closest grocery store, how what kind of entertainment's happening, and our volunteers in here are absolutely amazing. If you look to the left of that screen, there's a building behind. That's currently where I am sitting. That is our office here at Visit Anchorage. So I say hello from that window above. And downtown Anchorage is so lively. This is a summer shot. You can see people walking around. You're going to have reindeer hot dog stations, about 7 within 3 blocks. We have music in the park right next to our building. There's music in the park there. There's entertainment going on almost every day of the week during the summer. Lots of activity, shopping, dining right on downtown Anchorage. And then how about those baby animals? The best time to come see those baby animals are the first week of June. That's when most of them are born. So it's not uncommon to see them around our parks, backyards, or green areas. But also make sure to keep an eye out for their mamas. The only time moose here are aggressive is usually when the babies are around them. And we always say watch for the ears to go back and the tufts of the hair on their backs to go up, because that means they're a little agitated at the time. So we just say run faster than the person you're with, just joking, or stay behind a tree. This is a great time to see these baby animals. Marine life is also in full during June, July, and August. So all our great glacier day cruises are going. So come watch for whales. You got the sea otters, sea lions, and of course these amazing glaciers that we have. We have 50 glaciers within 60 miles in the Anchorage area. So amazing, amazing things. And if you saw, Obama came here in August, and he said one of the coolest things was seeing a glacier up close, and that he couldn't see Alaska in 3 days. So we're hoping to see him back here. Again, summer is our peak season, but during that peak season, that's when most of our tourism infrastructure is in place. So you should have no problem finding hotels, transfers, and the greatest variety of tour options. But of course, during June, July, August, that is where the peak season rates also happen. If your clients are looking for a little bit more of a deal, we say that the prices tend to drop when the first falling of the leaves drop. So usually in September, right around the end of August, beginning of September, you're going to get into shoulder season. And then also in spring, in the first or the last 2 weeks in May is also shoulder season. So they're able to save a little bit of money by going during this time of year. Of course, it doesn't compromise the quality of the trip that they'll be on. It just means that most of our shops and our tour operators shift gears slightly, and they offer maybe a different range of Alaska experiences just due to what's happening and what the weather is doing and what they can operate. But we also look for what we call termination dust. You can see in the mountains there, that's the first snowfall is what we call termination dust in Alaska. We've already had that, plus a couple of inches of snow in September, but of course that's all melted. We're just looking at the termination dust, determining when it's going to actually come and stay for good for the season. This is also when we're looking at the changing of the seasons as well. So once those leaves fall, the next thing that comes is the termination dust. And again, a lot still happening around here, a lot going on for your clients. One of my favorite time of year is our state fair, when we had the NACTA fam here that Lorraine helped to bring up, which was fantastic, which I can't believe it's been 2 years now. But we went to the Alaska State Fair and then afternoon there. And even though we had a bit of a rainy afternoon, we still found something special or delicious to eat on. We have over 60 food booths here. A lot of our unique Alaskan gifts are displayed here. It's a 10-day event that starts at the end of August and goes for 10 days up until Labor Day. So a great place to go see some of our world record-sized produce like you see here. So this cabbage right here weighed in at 138 pounds. So we can't grow a lot of vegetables here, but what we do grow big. Now we're moving into the autumn and early winter, so that would be September, October, November, and December. And again, with our maritime climate here in South Central Alaska, we're surprisingly pretty mild. So we're about 30 degrees Fahrenheit during this time up until winter solstice, which is the third week in December. And then after that, we start gaining daylight rapidly. So this is when we tend to start losing our daylight. As you can see, in December, we'll only have about 7.5 hours of daylight, but that's not so bad, and it makes people know that we are not so cold and dark, especially in South Central Alaska. So let's explore a little bit of that autumn and early fall. One of the best times to see the northern lights is during this time, just because they are still happening in the summer months, but we don't get enough darkness. But with the darkness growing during our autumn and winter, chances of seeing the northern lights are fantastic. This last late August, early September, our northern lights have been spectacular. What's really great is most of the hotels offer what's called a Northern Lights wake-up call, and they'll actually wake you up, call your room when they are happening. And luckily, usually in September, they're not happening at 2, 3 in the morning. They're normally happening around 11 p.m., so you don't have to get that wake-up call in the middle of the night. So if you can see the northern lights, they truly are on a bucket list and are magical. I stop and watch them every time and every chance I get. There's also a great app for those that have iPhones. It's Aurora Forecast. So if you do have clients come in here, they can actually turn that app on, and it'll tell you the levels of between 1 and 5 on the aurora activity here. Another great way to see the aurora is actually with the Alaska Railroad. In the summertime, the Alaska Railroad runs every day, but in the wintertime, it only does the Aurora train, which is awesome still because it will run all the way up from Anchorage to Fairbanks. It only runs on weekends, so it departs Anchorage on Saturday, and then you return from Fairbanks on Sunday. So some of the best viewing of the northern lights is up in Fairbanks because you're up in the valley of the peaks of the mountains, so they really, truly get pretty dynamic up there. And you also get to stop in Talkeetna and pass through Denali National Park during the wintertime. Even though Denali National Park is closed, you still have the chance of seeing Mount Denali. Remember, that got changed with Obama here. He signed the letter to change it from Mount McKinley to Mount Denali, which is its original name, which is an Alaska name that means the Great One. So you can pass through and ride the train. Ride the rails in Alaska is a great way to see the sights. Another advantage during winter touring is the wildlife is easier to spot. Except for the bears do go in hibernation, but most of all our other animals actually are more active in the cooler temperatures and are easier to spot because the leaves are gone, so you can see like this moose. It's a little tricky, but you can see them a little bit better, but if you can imagine if all the blooms of the green was on that tree, you would definitely not be able to see them. So great wildlife spotting. We have about 1,500 moose that live in the Anchorage area. In fact, I just had a friend that moved here and didn't believe me that there was moose around. In the last 2 days, she's ran into about 5 moose. So they're definitely around and in the area. In our winter days, with all the snow we get and the sunlight, it's really quite bright and a lot of great activities to do. The network of groomed trails that we have, the winter trails, are amazing. So you can do snowshoeing, you can go to remote wilderness lodges, a lot of creative wintertime activities to do that you see right here, doing some snowshoeing. Or how about fly out to a wilderness lodge? So still, most of our bush pilots do still fly in the wintertime. It's not just the summertime. What they do is they put skis on their float planes, and they can land on the frozen lakes, such as a remote lodge like this. And you can have unexpected luxuries. We have some amazing remote lodges around here that operate year-round, and you get gourmet dining, there's hot tubbing, adventure days filled with snowmobiling, dog mushing, Nordic skiing. Talk about just getting off the grid and coming into some wilderness land. This is a great time of year to do that in the wintertime. And then we get a lot of Broadway shows, operas, and theater productions year-round here in Alaska. In fact, my mom and I are going to My Fair Lady next week, so super excited, at a performing arts center, which is located just in downtown Anchorage. what really kind of kicks off the holiday season for us is the tree lighting ceremony we have in Town Square. This is when we know Christmas is coming and we light all our trees in Town Square, but also we're known as the City of Lights in the wintertime, just to kind of brighten things up. So just like the City of Flowers in the summertime, it's the City of Lights in the wintertime. And this is when we can see the fireworks. I always laughed as a kid, and during 4th of July we'd have fireworks, but you couldn't really see them. And then when you saw them in the wintertime when it's actually, you know, the dark skies, they're really amazing. So New Year's Eve and our Fire and Ice celebration is a downtown event that includes ice skating in Town Square, live entertainment, and it always ends with a spectacular firework celebration. So a great place to be here on New Year's Eve. Now we're going to talk about January, February, March. This is going into our coldest months of South Central. So still not that bad. Again, we're a maritime climate, so we're going to be in the low 20s, but we're rapidly gaining that daylight. And then by the end of March, you'll see that we have about 13 hours of daytime. So we are always excited once we get kind of past that January time frame, and once February, March hit, we start coming back alive. Definitely lots to do once we start hitting February, which includes the Ferrani that I'll talk about here in a moment. The good thing about January, February, March is usually when we have the best snow of the year. So if you have any clients that are interested in coming and skiing or doing some winter activities, this is the time to come. Again, we're not so cold. This is a picture from Alyeska Resort. This is on the top overlooking Turnagain Arm and the Seward Highway. So this is known to be steep and deep, but they also have a lot of moderate groom trails. So a great place for families to come and have some fun. The average snowfall that we get is about 700 inches on Mount Alyeska because they are in a rainforest. So they'll get 2 times as much as we do for snow than we do in Anchorage area. And the other best thing about skiing in Alaska is that you can see, since Turnagain Arm is just off on the distance there, is that our base starts at 250 feet elevation, which is a lot different than other locations that has the higher elevation. So there's no altitude that you have to adjust to. And that peak of this is at about 2,300 feet, and it goes up higher if you go to the very top, which is about 3,400. So a great mountain to ski with lots to see and do around their trails. And then to stay at Alyeska Ski Resort, this is one of the places I had the privilege of working. It is probably the nicest luxury hotel we do have in Alaska. It has 304 rooms, and it is busy both in summer and winter. And they really have upscale accommodations. They have their AAA rated 4-diamond restaurant called Seven Glaciers from the top, because you really do see 7 glaciers from that restaurant. Excellent. And the tram leaves right from the hotel. They also have this amazing saltwater pool, a hot tub that fits 16, but also offering a luxury spa area as well. So again, a great place for families to come and spend easily a full week there. And not only do they offer downhill skiing, but they have snowboarding, they have other winter activities such as ice skating, dog mushing, snowmobiling, flight skiing, and many, many more. So great place, and it's only 45 minutes south of Anchorage. And just as the state fair kind of marks the end of our summer, the beginning of winter is our celebration called Anchorage for Rendezvous, like I mentioned earlier. And this too is a 10-day event that has wacky fun and lineups that include outhouse races, snowshoe softball, running with the reindeer as you see here, and tons of fun little musicals that they have around town, and skits, and the duct tape ball is another big event. But then right as this event ends, then we go right into our ceremonial start of the Iditarod sled dog race. Hopefully you have heard of the Iditarod before. That is our one professional sport here in Alaska, so we're always excited to have it start, and it brings so much excitement to downtown Anchorage that you can see these dogs running. We fill downtown Anchorage on 4th Avenue We line it up with snow, haul the snow in, and they do a ceremony start with about 1,000 dogs that are getting ready to go on their epic journey to Nome. So great time for guests to come, because not only can they participate in our winter carnival, our rendezvous, but then see the starting of the Iditarod. And if they're really into dog mushing, they can actually attend the Mushers Banquet, and that's how they get drawn of who goes out first. There's also what we call chasing the race, where you actually land at various checkpoints via a float plane, and you can actually see the Iditarod and stop and cheer on the mushers at these different checkpoints, and then see how the vets check out the dogs and how they feed them and all that great stuff. And then if you want, you can go all the way to the end, which is Nome, and you can see the mushers come in. And traditionally, when the last musher reaches Nome, it's normally when the Christmas lights go out in Anchorage. So that's when we start turning the seasons from the City of Light and start looking forward to the blooms that will be shortly coming. And then also at the beginning of April, that's when we get a lot of the whales, gray whales, migrating back. So it's a time to greet them and say hi, so you can start doing those whale watching as early as sometimes late March, but early April is another great time to welcome these whales back from Hawaii. So that brings us full circle from where we started, from the summer season in South Central all the way to the winter season. So like we said, any time of year is a great time to come visit South Central Alaska. And that takes us through the first module, so hopefully we're doing okay on time. And we're going to move on to Module 6, and this is always in season, so we're going to just kind of continue who's open year-round, some of the other things that you can see and do, and not just breaking down the season. We're just going to talk generally year-round openings. Because a lot of people think that we shut down with the cruise ships, and we really do not. Let's move on. And this is, again, the inside of our visitor center. I mentioned earlier we have the log cabin visitor center right in front of our office, but then at the end of our office we have our visitor information center. So two great places to get information on what to see, what's open. They'll actually help call around and see who's serving the freshest seafood, or really help you organize your trip if they need, or if your client just needs a little extra assistance, or if they want to ship back fish. This is the place to go. We also have two visitor centers in the airports too. We have two at the domestic terminal and one at the international terminal. And always open is our public lands building, which is kitty corner from the visitor log cabin. And this is a free venue for your guests to enjoy, and has the insight of all the different regions of Alaska. So it has a great information on the flora and the fauna. They have different 15-minute documentaries just on Alaska's natural history. If people are interested in the parks that we have, both the state and national parks, this is a great place to go see. And there's going to be a lot happening in 2016 as the national parks celebrate their 100th year. So expect a lot of cool things happening next year in 2016 in Alaska for that. Also, what's always good to know is this is, if they're walking in downtown Anchorage, this is where the public restrooms are. A lot of people think our little log cabin has public restrooms, which we do not. So our public lands building has the restrooms. It's always a good little inside tidbit to know. And then shopping. Of course, people want to come and bring back souvenirs. We all know that we need to look for either the polar bears or the little silver hand to know if you're buying truly Alaskan gifts. We also have some great malls too. We have our Fifth Avenue mall right in downtown, right on Fifth Avenue. We have this mall has grown tremendously. It probably has a lot of the same retail stores that you guys have in the lower 48, as we say. But it is growing, and it does have a couple unique Alaska gift shops located in it. But then just in the downtown area, walking around, we have some great boutiques and locally made Alaska gifts, such as the Umiak shop, which sells hats made out of kiviut. Kiviut is the underwool of a muskox. So you can see these hats here. Kiviut is actually warmer than wool, but lighter and softer. So it's amazing to actually watch our Alaska natives actually at the store where they take You'll see it from the very beginning of when they get the wool from the muskox, where they have to thread it out and then batch it up and then string it out. And you can, for those that knit, you can actually buy your own yarn of it or spool of it. But it is pretty expensive because it does take a lot to get it into just a spool of yarn. But amazing gift. And just amazing place to stop in. Again, it's the Uniac shop in downtown Anchorage on 6th to just watch them to make scarves and hats and stuff. Also, around town, you'll see a lot of our native artwork, such as this one you'll see at the Anchorage Museum has a great shop. But again, with Anchorage being the main transportation hub, a lot of our Alaska Natives love to come and sell their goods. And the best thing about shopping in Alaska is we have no sales tax. So even if you have lower freight, it might be cheaper without that tax added on. And of course, dining is what we want to talk about. Even though in the summer months we talk about all that fresh fish, we do still have it served year-round. During May, June, July, August, September, they catch it that day and serve it that night. But we do have a good mix of other cuisines around here. A lot of people are surprised that even though we only have 300,000 people living in the Anchorage area, we have over 100 different languages spoke in our school districts. So pretty amazing, which also brings pretty ethnic cuisine in around the Anchorage area. So you can not only specialize in Alaska seafood, but that have locally grown produce, but all the other possible cuisines that are around here are very surprising. And after you eat that big meal, of course, we talked earlier about the groomed winter trails. There's also the summer trails. So great way for those adventurous travelers, or even if they just went and had dinner and want to walk a trail system. We have what's called the Tony Knowles Coastal Trail, which is right off of downtown Anchorage. It's 11 miles that run into Kincaid Park, but they don't have to go that far. They can easily take a stroll for 1 mile, half mile. We have benches along the way, but it's a great way to really look at Cook Inlet, see the animals, just view downtown Anchorage from a different viewpoint that's not very far off that trail. But again, we have over 170 miles of paved trails just in and around the Anchorage area. And of course, like I said, you can do Nordic. This is the exact same trail I talked about. This is the Tony Knowles Coastal Trail again, but now instead of on a bike, we're on skis. So again, we keep these groomed year-round to enjoy. A lot of snowshoeing done here in Alaska as well. And of course, we talked about seeing the babies in June, but you can also see the mamas and the daddies year-round. These guys are always out. And again, more now you can see them because they're coming in closer from the green belts and trails because they don't have as many leaves to eat. So year-round, you get to see these guys. And then again, when we talked about our city of flowers, this is another shot of what it looks like in the summertime with the big flowers blooming in our town square. So we're very proud of how big these blossoms get. And this so that was town square, and in the summertime of the city of bloom. Here is town square in the wintertime when we talked about the fire and ice happening here, the ice skating. This is where we get sculptures, the ice sculptures. So it's really a hub of year-round events here at Town Square on 6th Avenue. Also open year-round is our Alyeska Botanical Garden. It is, they get a lot of wildlife out there too, but they have amazing trails to walk and, excuse me, and great for groups if you have a group coming and you want a unique spot to host them. Our Alyeska Botanical Gardens is amazing, again, for their trails, whether walking or snowshoeing or doing a bonfire there. So amazing place. This one is about 10 minutes outside of downtown Anchorage. And of course, we have to talk about our culture here in Alaska and the amazing museums that we have, so we're going to run through those real quick. This is our Anchorage Museum. It has over 10,000 years of Alaska history under one roof. Amazing place right in downtown on 6th Avenue. But one of my favorite parts of our museum is the Smithsonian Arctic Study And this is what you're seeing on the screen now, and it's just an exhibit of all this fantastic native wares and how they made their what they wore, what they ate, how their tools, in every part of their native history. So amazing place to go see. And then for those aviation buffs, we have what's called the Alyeska Aviation Museum, which is actually over by the Anchorage Airport. They actually have a shuttle there. But if you do have anyone interested in talking with a bush pilot, learning about all the places to go and see the float planes, it is located on Lake Hood, which Lake Hood is the busiest float plane airport in the world. So pretty amazing to see over 600 takeoff and landings during the summer. But then in the winter when they put on the skis, it's pretty fantastic as well to see. So this is a great place to learn about that history, meet a bush pilot, see the vintage aircraft. There's a flight simulator there. And again, it's just right next to the Anchorage Airport. We mentioned the Performing Arts Center that has big performances there, but we also have a couple other little theaters around town, such as this one is the Alyeska Experience Theater, where you can actually learn. There's a couple different movies that they show. They talk about the '64 earthquake that happened. That was 9.2. They have one on just the natural history of Alaska. So they're little, about 15-minute videos that you can see. And on the earthquake one, they actually shake your seats so you can kind of feel what a 9.2 earthquake is, and hopefully that's the only way any of us will ever experience one. And then we have some great cafes, and we have what's called a chocolate tasting. So again, it's open year-round. We have these unique boutiques and cafes that serve amazing coffees. We actually have the most coffee stands per capita as well, along with those restaurants. So we do like our caffeine here in Alaska, and our chocolate. And dog mushing, you might think that's just a wintertime sport. That is, but it is year-round. Of course, in the summertime, we have to put the sleds on wheels, so it's a little bit different experience. But you could, out of Girdwood, actually fly up in a float plane, actually on a helicopter, and land on a glacier and do dog sledding in the summertime that way. But in the wintertime, we offer amazing dog sledding opportunities actually on the snow. And if you can ever get pulled by these dogs, it's truly an amazing experience because they are true athletes. And our All-American Seward Highway is always a scenic drive, whether it's summertime or wintertime. It is 122 miles from Anchorage to Seward, and as you can see, it's kind of this windy road, but you see the mountains, you get the Chugach Mountains, you get the Kenai Mountains, you get the Trinidad Arm, and then you're also looking for wildlife. They stay year-round on these mountains, so you're looking for, we have a pod of beluga whales that stay in Trinidad Arm. We also have the sheep that are there, the moose. So I always say if you see a car pulled over on the side of the Seward Highway, usually something is happening or something's being spotted. But another great place to go see animals is at our Alaska Zoo that's open year-round. They have a variety of indigenous and cold climate exotic species such as snow leopards, we have camels, and we have polar bears, to name a few. And of course, these guys, we have a pack of wolves there that are really cool to see as well. In our Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, it is in Portage Valley, which is a big game-style park, amazing place that's ran by a local guy named Mike and his family, and they take in orphaned and injured animals from Alaska. One of the coolest things that they just had is they had a release, the first release of the wood bison back into the wild. So that happened in March of 2015, this last March. But it's a great place to see the bears, moose, ox, caribou, eagles, leopards, deer. I think he has it all. So a great place to stop, especially if you're staying at Alyeska Resort or heading down to Seward for the day. Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center is an amazing place to really see the animals in kind of a natural setting. And if you're into the marine wildlife, when you get to Seward, you can go to the Alaska Sea Life Center, again, open year-round, and they're really focused on the cold water marine wildlife research here in Alaska. So they, too, take in orphaned or injured animals, but these are the marine wildlife that we have in Alaska. And I think I showed earlier the shot of Alyeska Resort in the winter, and I said they are busy both winter and summer because a lot of the cruise lines do use Alyeska as an overnight. So here is what it looks like in the summertime. So we saw the wintertime shot. This is the pond that freezes over in the wintertime for ice skating, and in the summertime it opens it up to many trails for walking. And we can't forget about that Alaska Railroad. I mentioned the Aurora train that's open in the wintertime, and in the summertime it is year-round. Their views are absolutely spectacular. So if you have a chance to sell the Alaska Railroad to your guests, please do so. It is a great way to travel. It goes from Anchorage to Fairbanks, and then Anchorage to Seward on a daily basis in the summertime. And then again in the wintertime, it does the Aurora train that only goes from Anchorage to Fairbanks on the weekends. But look at that spectacular view. How about fishing? Do you think you can fish year-round in Alaska? Well, this picture says yes. This is a nice winter king that Nancy is holding. Nancy used to work for us. So out of Seward and Homer, you can go for winter kings, which sounds a little cold, but look at her. She's not too bundled up, and look at that big fish. So fishing year-round is definitely possible here in Alaska, and a great way and great stories to be told. And of course, with all those glaciers that we have over 100,000 glaciers here in Alaska. So plenty of glaciers to see, whether by boat, by land, or by air. So again, open year-round to go see these glaciers, and it's amazing the difference between seeing them in the summer and seeing them in the winter time. And you can actually land on some of these glaciers too, which is pretty cool. And that will do it. So we made it through. You guys are all now officially AW2 certified. So hopefully you have your AW1 certificate, and I will get the list from Lorene on who attended today's seminar, and I will be emailing you your certificate as an AW2 Pathfinder. So again, I hope to see you in Kona. And another thing I want to suggest is how to stay in touch with us. So this shows Let's Socialize. As we know, social media is the thing to do these days. So we are on Facebook, which is the facebook.com/AnchorageAW, which means Anchorage Wild Expert. We're on Twitter, and then we're also on Instagram, and those are all the different links. And then also, we just redid our website. It's pretty cool. We're very excited. The pictures are fantastic. It's easier to use. And if you'd like to do this training, the same training is online. I had to pull the videos out of it because they just don't stream when we're doing webinars. So if you'd like to see the videos that go with this webinar that we just did, go to anchorage.net and look for the travel trade button. Hit that travel trade button and hit on training, and you're more than welcome to kind of click through the presentation again and see the wonderful videos that go with this. And again, if you are having Alaska Sales Night and are promoting Alaska, we'd love to help. We have these great kits that we send out that have fun little gifts and our visitor guide and other promotional materials. So please let us help you sell South Central Alaska. And we're always here to answer any questions you have. There's 7 of us in this office, and most of us are from Alaska our whole life. So if I can't answer it, I'm pretty sure I can throw it out to our think tank and someone else will know. So thank you again for joining me and spending some time with me. And I think I did that in about 45 minutes, so that leaves time for questions here at the end. And this just is kind of what our Facebook page looks like. So again, go on there, say how excited you are about South Central Alaska, and also this is how we give out FAM trips too. So enter here. We're going to be having a trivia contest for our Iditarod FAM here coming shortly. So keep in touch with us. We keep in touch with you, and we'd love to get you up here on a FAM. So again, thank you, and everyone have a great afternoon. So I'll see if there's any questions out there.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This, just as a reminder to everybody, this is being recorded. So if you have any other material that you need to be able to go kind of look through once again, we will have it up on the NACTA website. Hopefully within the next couple of days, I am going to turn it over to Dawn, our webmaster, as soon as T and I hang up. A couple of questions that people were asking is, do you have kind of an ETA on when the 2016 brochures will be available, and how do they get their hands on them?
Great question. Our visitor guide will be coming out here in December. So in December, we'll probably put something on Facebook letting them know that they're out there, and then you can request them on our website. You can either do it through my email if you'd like, or just on our website it says request material, and you'll see that the 2016 is out in December.
Perfect. And I did just post the anchorage.net/travel trade URL in the chat box for anybody who wants to be able to get a quick click on there to get signed up for their information. It will also lead you to any of the other trainings that are done, which they're all very good and very useful. I know that thanks to Tia and the gang, I have become, I don't know, Tia, wouldn't you say a pretty good saleswoman of the land packages for Anchorage these days?
I would say excellent. Excellent.
And you know,
it has raised the bar high.
And to my fellow travel agents, don't be afraid to sell land. I know a lot of clients go, I just want to be on an inside passage. The experience of actual Anchorage is so different. All due respect to cruise lines, I sell them too, but to make your clients really understand what Anchorage is all about, try to make sure to add some land in there, either pre or post, or better yet, just send them up there. I have some clients who I will be sending up there in June who have never been on a cruise ship, and they're going to experience a lot of Anchorage on land. They're foodies, which is perfect. They love coffee, again, perfect. They want to see Denali National Park. Visit Anchorage has plenty of partners that they can have you work with. If you want to do that, you can always check to see who are suppliers that are partnered with NACDA. They also will be able to put packages together for you. And it's a completely unique experience. If anybody has any questions about it and they want to talk to a fellow travel agent, you're always welcome to talk to me. My email is sharptongued@mac.com, and that's SHARPTONGUED@MAC.com. Happy to talk to you about it as somebody who is a seller of Alaska and comfortable with asking questions, and I am one of your peers. Make sure to go to their Facebook page. Thank you for changing that back. As well as Twitter and the Instagram page. There's some beautiful photos up there, and it will also be able to help you get more sales material and information to be able to promote the products. So, and Tia did not pay me to do this.
Nope. It just comes naturally to you.
Just comes natural. Just comes natural. It is wonderful. We have clients any time of year. It's absolutely gorgeous. The running with the reindeer is probably one of the #1 things that I ever tell people I did. It was totally awesome and lots of fun. It's really goofy. Boy, those Alaskans dress in strange outfits, but you know, it's all about the fun. Thank you, Tia, for being here. Those are actually all the questions that we had. And again, if you have clients who want to go up there, they do have awesome music. They just had Pink Martini up there. I was so jealous.
They did, I know.
Did you get to go?
No, I was out of town.
Of course, of course.
But I heard about them through you, so.
Yeah. An awesome group. Glad they were up there. And thank you again, Tia, and thank you for sponsoring one of the lunches. I look forward to seeing you when we are in a similar time zone. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you. See you guys in Kona.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.